Title of this masterclass is What's Holding You Back. And I felt like that was a really powerful statement because often we want to do so many things. We have all these ideas. We really are thinking like, how can we do this? How can we do this? And then often something holds us back. And we'll talk more about what those things can be. Of course, this is geared towards organizing, and I've got 5 simple steps to help in this process and to get past the holding back part. So maybe you feel a bit like this woman with all this stuff going on. I know maybe it's fuzzy, that was a great word, or unfocused, cluttered. You know, that's what I get from this image. And I think, you know, we can all fall into feeling that way. Okay, 2 numbers up here. Now, I know some of you might have seen what I posted earlier on Facebook at that. So any guesses as to what this means? I'm going to open up my chat box so I can see. And what does this refer to? What do you think? What do those numbers mean? Any guesses? 71 and 10. Let's see who knows what that is all about. Why are those numbers on the screen? Any guesses? I think I might have to give the answer. So 71 days left in 2020, which is 10 weeks. So when you look at it that way, it's like, wow, what can I do in that time? I have 71 days or 10 weeks, we all have the same amount of time. So what decisions will we make to make the best use of that time? Okay, so that's sort of the setup for today's class. Okay. So again, I'm hoping that I'm trying to, yikes. Oh, so there's a bit of a delay, right? Because Lisa has it 71 days and 10 days, 10 weeks, right, in 2020. I'm hoping that because we're doing this in a sort of a class format and I'm a teacher, I'm hoping you'll participate through the chat. I know sometimes we do other things on these calls, but I'm hoping that we can do a little interaction. And so I'll ask you to do a couple of things and that will keep it more fresh, keep it interesting. So, okay, so in the chat, if you could write down what is one project that perhaps you've been thinking about, you've started, you know, you're imagining doing it. You know, I've been getting, maybe you've noticed this too, I'm starting to get these holiday gift guide and holiday Christmas. I'm like, oh my God, really? So, you know, before that comes, like, what project can you do? What is, so Sarah's saying clear the pantry. Corey is wanting to clear out her daughter's toys. Okay, very specific. These are great because they're very specific areas. How to put this is a technical, maybe, Lisa, if you don't mind writing to Amanda. Okay, choosing, framing, and hanging family photos. I think that's you, Fausta. I hope it is Fausta. Yeah, I will show you a picture of something that I did in that realm. So that's a great one. Organizing the garage. Yes, absolutely. So these are all areas that good, it is Fausta, great. These areas tend to be, I mean, this is where we're living our lives. And especially now with so much more time at home, you know, these places they start to get cluttered. They start to get, you know, they're not optimal for the way you want to use them, right? So some places like the garage, you know, you can kind of just keep putting things out there until it gets to a certain point where maybe you can't move in there. But other areas like your pantry or places you use every day, you know, that's a different sort of organizing project because it's your day-to-day life. So I think there's different levels of organizing and different priorities, but it's great to be thinking, wow, what could I really do and get done? So I love this quote. I often refer to it. Edit your life frequently and ruthlessly. It's your masterpiece after all, by Nathan Morris. And I think it's so true, right? We are responsible for ourselves and our lives, and sometimes for others as well. But we really have the ability to make the change. And it, you know, as life changes, we're all feeling that now. There are many things out of our control. this is one thing that can be in our control, is deciding to take on an organizing project. So Shannon, I'm just seeing your chat, getting reorganized since being away for 4 months. So that, yeah, that's a big shift in lifestyle and how things operate, I would imagine. So a little bit of background for, I think on this call, most of you know me, but for those who don't, I'm Jessica, and I come to this work from a variety of places. In fact, lots of things have influenced the ability that, or the interest and the ability I have to do this kind of work. Young in my teenage years, I was a gymnast, an elite gymnast that competed for Canada at the Olympics. So I learned about hard work. I learned how to be organized. I learned how to manage my time. I had to. That was the only way to make it work. So that influenced me very, very early on. And that led to teaching. So you see some of my students with some fun clothing. I've been teaching. I tried some high school teaching. I've done outdoor education, some art, and most recently at Seneca College, I teach them success strategies and life skills. So it's great. My family, Jeremy and Sebastian, are in my family, and they're the foundation, and they keep me sane. Sometimes insane, but they keep me sane, and they influence so much of how I work and the ways in which I'm developing this line of work, which is organizing. Green tape, the tape gun. This is the way to go, and we just tackle these projects. So these are some things that have shaped me, and I'm getting clearer and clearer on this mission about being able to help people transform their clutter, the mental clutter, the physical clutter, and make it clear so that action can be taken. Because once we take action, usually we feel better about it. Our lives are richer and more satisfying. So I really feel like the catalyst that can make that happen, and that's a really good feeling. So I'm excited to keep going. This slide is about the time of year it is. This is fall. And this actually comes from Chinese culture and philosophy, the 5 elements. So we've got wood, fire, earth, metal, and water. And right now in the fall of this transitional time, this is the earth. This is the earth element. So if you think about the earth and the ground beneath our feet and things emerging out of the earth, this is the time for that kind of energy to happen. So I think it's good timing. It's good timing. So in terms of organizing, I mean, I'm sure most of you know who this woman is now. 10 years ago, nobody did. And the idea of having someone come and help you organize was a strange concept. But Marie Kondo has really mainstreamed organizing and decluttering and sort of optimizing your space in a way that has made it's great, because whether or not you follow her exact philosophy doesn't matter. I mean, she's getting at, like, does this spark joy? Is what you have around you what you need, what you want, what you love? So I really like that, she brings that to each collaboration that she does, and she influences so many of us. Newer ladies on the block. I don't know if you've seen The Home Edit on Netflix. So these 2 ladies have an organizing business, and they're funny and sassy and tell jokes. And they really know their stuff. And you have to really like rainbow colors to do their style. So they're all about function, but they're also about aesthetics and about like how it looks and how it feels. So I really love that they have color and all of that. So again, more and more people are watching this show and realizing, oh, wow, okay, I can, by changing this, by organizing my pantry, or by dealing with my garage, or whatever, cleaning up the toys, my daughter's toys, my life will change. Not just that space, but my life. So how does clutter affect us? It affects us on so many levels: physical, mental, emotional, and behavioral. I mean, if you just imagine your physical space, what you're actually walking through, sitting in, eating meals in, how does that work? Mentally, what does your brain feel like? Again, that image, the very first slide of full of stuff, that's that's something that is quite, well, I think, you know, it can happen to all of us in different ways about how our mental capacity to manage, you know, how that happens. Emotionally, oh, we can feel so many things, guilty, lazy, unmotivated, overwhelmed, so many things. And behavioral, what actions are we taking or aren't we taking based on all these other areas? So this is, when we have too much stuff and it's cluttered, it really does affect our health, our mental, emotional health. Okay, so we're going to try a poll. So I don't know if you've ever done a poll on Zoom, but I'm going to ask if you're doing something else, multitasking, if you can come back and focus in. I'm going to open up a poll, and what it is 6 questions, and you're going to put your answer, the answer you think is most relevant. Okay, let's open it up. So I'm hoping everyone can see it. And question number, please put in the chat if there's some problem with it, because I'm seeing it. I hope you're seeing it. So question number 1. Can you see the full question? I can't see the full question. Oh yeah, what's holding you back is the title. Using the correct organizational tools can improve time management. I have to launch it. There we go. Okay, here we go. I haven't done a poll, so this is kind of fun. All right, so I think everyone can see it now. Let's hope. I'm waiting to just get clarification to see. Yay, good. Okay. So question 1, using the correct organizational tools can improve time management. So using some kind of system, something that works for you, whatever that is, different for everybody. How much will that improve your time management? Let's see if, I think if you do it, I can see the results as we go. So yeah, okay, good. 20, we have 1 for 20%. Let's see if we'll keep going with. So I'm hoping everyone is able to access this poll so we can see some results. I see a few down. Okay, 3 months. I'll give you the answers at the end. But I'm hoping there's a few more people who can participate in the poll. So we've, yeah, got 6 simple questions there. So the average adult. So I'll just give it a couple more minutes and we'll see if there's any other results that I can see on the poll. I've never done a poll, but I thought it might be an interesting way to be more interactive on the call. Okay. Okay, we've got a few more guesses here. All right. I think there might be a delay. I think that's part of it. So now we've got 3. Great. So I'll just wait just a little bit for. Excellent. Okay, let's see what the results are. Perfect. Okay. Okay, I'll wait 30 more seconds. And then I'll go through the answers. You probably know some of them. Okay, so using the correct organizational tools can improve time management by, now most of you said 75%. It actually is 40%. So, but you know what? Maybe it's more like 75. If we think it's 75, it's probably 75. But this was taken from the Professional Organizers of Canada. They did a survey, and this is where I got these questions. So maybe it's time to to update. Number 2, the average adult spends how long looking for lost items in their home over their lifetime? 1 year. A year of your life spent looking for stuff. That's kind of freaky, huh? It's a long time. What percentage of items do we buy and never use? 80%. 80%. Again, you know what? I have to say, 80% is a lot, but I guess if you start breaking it down in terms of things that aren't finished too, like if you think about completion of whether it's food items or outdoor items, I think sometimes that also ends up in this mix, but it's a lot. It's a big number. It's a big number. And again, everybody's different. This is a generalization from a poll, right? So, okay, what percent of housework would be eliminated? 40%. 40%. Wouldn't that be nice? That would be great, wouldn't it? So again, housework can be anything from actual cleaning, but also tidying up. If you think about tidying up, how much time do we spend tidying up? If we didn't have to move things around so much, we wouldn't be doing that, right? So what percent of your annual household budget is spent on unnecessary expenditures? So this is, again, replacing things because you can't find it, late fees, all of that kind of stuff. 25%. 25% of the money we're making is going towards that, right? To something that doesn't necessarily need to be happening. So I think that's also incentive. And 1 hour of planning will save how many hours of doing? 10 hours of doing. So that's an interesting, these are some interesting statistics, some which you may relate to more than others. Again, taken from across the board on a big scale, but it's interesting to think about. So I'm going to end the poll. Thank you for participating in that part of it. That's kind of fun. Okay, so we're going to move on. Okay, so we know that being cluttered or feeling cluttered mentally, physically is not good for our health. So by changing that and by deciding to do the project you're setting to, you set yourself up to do, what can happen? How can you feel? These are some of the things that come up. And in the work I do with people all the time, this is how they feel afterwards. I often get this. I feel a sense of ease. I'm proud of my house now. I'm not embarrassed to have people come over. I have more time. I'm saving some money. My confidence has gone up. I'm in better health. All these things are very real outcomes of the process. So again, how do you feel like from one to the other, right? These aren't exact before and afters of the same space, but again, you can see the clutter of an eating area versus the simplicity of another. Your house will look different. Your kitchen table will likely look different than this, but it's the idea that deciding to make the change is worth it. We work from home a lot. I don't know, everyone has a different setup these days. So that's something we've had to really think about and focus on. So again, we're making a shift. Mentally, again, the cluttered mind, can we move more towards this sort of, she looks very zen and very calm, and it's not easy. It's not easy. So much coming at us and so much out of our control, but can we get there? So I love this proverb, let go or be dragged. So can we get there if we let go? Yes. Sometimes we're dragged, right? Sometimes we have to do it because we're moving or something's happened in the home, or something is precipitating a change. But sometimes it's just a choice that we're making because we're ready to make that choice. So we can also love this picture because she's kind of being chased by this wave of clothing, this wave of does it ever feel like that? Do you feel like that? Where, oh my God, my stuff is attacking me. It's too much, right? Or my ideas or my inability to get clear on what to do next. It's taking over. So I think sometimes that's the feeling we can have. Okay, for part 2 of the interactive portion, I am going to stop sharing my screen, and Lisa has put in the link in the chat. If you just click on that link, it's going to take you to a new page. So you'll come out of Zoom, and it's a Google Doc that we can all add a sticky note to. So I'm also going to click, actually no, I've got to stop sharing, and I'm going to go to it as well. So let me go here. Okay, so I'm hoping everyone is seeing what's holding you back from finishing or starting your organizing project. So this is a Jamboard. If you haven't done it before, it's a blank board and you get to put sticky notes on it. So if you're looking at your screen, you should see a polka dot sheet of paper with my name at the bottom. If you look on the left, there's a bunch of, choices, and the fourth one down is a sticky note. So if you click on that, you'll get something in the middle of your screen which says sticky note, and you can choose the different color. And then I would love for you to answer that question, what's holding you back? And please put as many sticky notes as you can, because this is really, when we talk about doing this stuff, it's all possible. But then something gets in the way. So what is that thing? What gets in the way? So I'm going to make one as well. And the cool thing about this is it's anonymous. Oh, I'm moving the logo. And you get to see what people are putting. I'm going to move the fear one so we can all see. So has everyone added a few? Great, great. So this is the real meat of it, right? This is where we go, okay, this is what I want to do. I know this is good for me. I know it's not helpful when I'm not doing it. So what's getting in the way? What's holding me back? What's happening? So not knowing where to start, competing values, fear, feeling overwhelmed, having high expectations. I don't know how to start. Time. Me. I love that. The feeling of why bother, or will it really make a difference? Yeah. Stuck. Not being able to see the end. Money. Overwhelm. Time. There's another one. Actually, hey, I can do this, can I? Time. Okay, money, time. So overwhelm is like the starting, I think, a little bit. Okay, so we can see the end. Okay, why bother? Overwhelmed goes over here. Okay, so money, start. I don't know where to start. Okay, so we can see fairly quickly that there are some patterns. That seems to be like a me thing. Okay, not knowing where to start, stuck. So it seems like there's quite a concentration in the starting, in the beginning. Then this, I think these go together in terms of values, expectations, like what's my issue here? Money is very real. Not being able to see the end. Okay, and time, and fear. So it's really interesting to see how all of you have sort of put the challenges that you have out here, and let's now try to work through how can we fix that? How can we get past that? How can we manage it well through this process that I'm going to tell you about? So what I'm going to do now is actually get out of this and come back to Zoom. So let's all go back to Zoom, and I'll just ask for a thumbs up when you're back on Zoom so I know that we're there. So I'm going to get out of this and come back to the call. So I'll just wait. Okay, and you can do the reactions on the bottom, along the bottom. You should see where it says participants in chat and all of those things. There's a button called reactions. And if you want, you can put the hand or a thumb or some kind of indication that you're back on the call. So hopefully I see Susan's thumb. I see Shannon's hand. So it's great. Oh, they disappear after a little bit. Okay, so I'm just going to assume that everyone is back. Again, without the video, I don't know. So some of you I can see and some of you I can't. So that's okay. So I'm going to go back now to sharing my screen. And just now we're just going to talk about how to deal with those issues, those very real challenges that you face, that we all face. Okay, so I need to share. Oh, but I don't want to share that. Okay, hang on a sec. I want to share my PowerPoint. So let's go back to share the screen. There we go. That's what I want to share. Okay, so these are in my experience working with lots of different people over the past 6 years or so, these are the most common, and they were all on the board, weren't they? In some form. I'm too busy, the time piece. I don't know where to start, the overwhelm piece. I may need it one day. I think that comes to the values piece and the sort of me part, like what I can't, it's about decision making as well, right? The fear of decision making. I feel guilty. I won't be able to maintain. So what's the point? I think that was one of them. What's the point? Because if I start this, it won't stay like that, or my family won't allow it to stay like that. Sometimes that's an issue. So it's easier to leave it, right? There's just this sense of just let it be, you know, I'll do it another time. Indecisive, right? Or just passing the decision to a later time. So we say that, but what I think we mean often goes beyond that. And what we often mean is we're afraid, and someone said fear, and that is bang on, because it's fear of failing. Like, I suck at this, I don't know how to do it. It's not Marie Kondo, it's not the rainbow colors of the home edit. Like, so then what? Or, you know, all of that, not doing it right. So the fear of judgment, self-judgment, but also from others. Fear of change, you know, I've always been this way, so why would I change now? Like, then who will I be? Then what's my identity? The fear of uncertainty. Oh, there's so much of that now anyway. The fear of the unknown, right? Similar. And sometimes the fear of success. That's often like, what if this really happens, then how will my life be different? And how will that affect the people around me? So sometimes there's two levels of what's really going on. And by coming to this level, we get at the real core of what can we shift? What can we shift now? Now, back to fall, right? We're sort of in this transition time, powerful transitional energy. So with that, we move into the practical. So this is where I talk about this technique that really works. It really works in many different ways. And cool that it spells my last name. So we actually start at 1 o'clock on this diagram, the think part. The T for Tudos. So we think about what we want. Like, how do you want to feel when you walk in your house or look in your pantry or see your child's room or whatever the project you want to do? When you have a photos framed, I think that was one. How will you feel? Like, how do you want to feel? Right? So getting clear on that helps with the next part, right? So then in most cases, you're going to uncover what you already have. What do you already have to work with? Do you already have the photos? Oh, they're digital. Wow, and they're all over the place. So, okay, that's what I have. So let's recognize that that's what I have. You're then going to move on to the decide part. I'm going to use a different example. I'm going to use clothing because that's always a big one, often a big one. If you uncover what you have, and you're going to then sort it into categories, right? You're going to take out all, if you have too much and you don't wear it, I think there's some statistic like, what is it that we wear 20% of our clothing 80% of the time. So I think that's what it is. So those are kind of crazy numbers. So what's in our closet, right? So how do we manage it? We take it out, we sort it, we put it in piles, all the long sleeve, all the short sleeve, all the coats, all the boots, all of them from all over the place, right? Cars, garages, wherever they live. And then we do it so that we see the volume, we see what we have. Next step, the D is to decide. Okay, what do I keep? What don't I need anymore? What do I donate? What do I recycle? What do I, what's next? Organizing it, how do I put it back? Make it work for me? And then lastly, how do I sustain that? How do I keep that system going? Because if you don't have a plan for sustaining it, it can quickly go back to what it was. Okay, so again, this is just a little review of each step, but it's really, really important not to bypass this step because when it gets difficult, this is what keeps you going. This is what makes it happen. This is what gets you to the finish line. So how you feel now, how you want to feel after you do this process, after you finish the project, after you do what you intend to do, right? And we talk about growth or fixed mindset. Fixed mindset, it's very like, this is what it is, and I've always been messy, so I will always be messy, and that's just the way it is. As opposed to growth, which is, okay, I've tended to be messy my whole life. However, with some new tools or with support or with a strategy, I can shift that in small ways, right? By getting clear, you get to act. So why do I have this picture? This is Thanksgiving. And this is about mindset, because I know it was really hard for my family to, Thanksgiving, we celebrate together. And I think many families, we struggled with, what do we do? What do we do with all that's going on? So we struggle with that. And in the end, we didn't have a fixed mindset. Well, this is how we do it, and we can't do that, so we're not doing it. No, we said, okay, let's figure it out. And so we all came together, and you see my mother there, but she really went, it was amazing putting together this basket of food, and we all brought a portion of a meal. And then we all we met in the garage. We had a toast and an appetizer. And then we went to our own houses and we ate the meal where everyone had contributed, and we did the meal over Zoom. So that was a really, what a cool way to do something new where we had to adapt. And I think when you think about an organizing project, often it's not perfect conditions. There's never enough time. Or, some people get caught up in, I don't have the right containers or the right, things like that. It's like, it's not about that. You just do it with what you have, and adapt to the situation and have a growth mindset about it. One other example from my own life, I have often, my mother's on this call, she'll laugh. So cooking has never really been my thing. And sometimes I make some pretty strange kind of dishes. I'm not a recipe girl, let's put it that way. So sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. But one thing I wanted to do more of with all this time was cook more and actually try some things and learn some things. So I didn't have a before picture. This is my new spice drawer where I got containers, and I bought labels, and this makes me happy, and it encourages me to cook, because when I open this drawer, it looks like a shelf, but it's a drawer. I'm happy with what I see, and it inspires me to want to then cook. So that was a project for me. I did this in the summer, and before it was messy, all different kinds and this and that. So that's just an example of from my own life, a project that, again, shifts how you see yourself. So perhaps that you can relate to that in some way, where if you take on the project, if you complete it, how can that shift how you see yourself, and how, and it really makes a difference. Okay, step 2 is the taking out, sorting like with like I was mentioning. Again, you want to really know what you have, because if you just do it bit by bit, that the results are bit by bit. But if you take it all, you're going to get a comprehensive result. So again, this is me at a friend's. She had asked me to help her out. So we started taking out stuff, and it's going to be messy before it gets better. And sometimes that makes people a little afraid of, like, oh, my house is going to be a disaster. Yeah, it will, but then it'll get better. But this is the first stage, right? And again, this is some ways in which you categorize things. This comes from a drawer in somebody's bedroom. Again, paperwork is always a big one. So sticky notes about this kind of paperwork, and the bins really help to contain certain items as you're sorting them. So the sorting is a big piece of this. Decisions, right? What are the roadblocks? It's hard to decide sometimes. Emotionally, it's hard. You feel all kinds of things when you're deciding to keep, toss, recycle, or donate. And then there's usually a category of action. Return, fix, give back to mom, whatever the action needs to be taken on that item. So often that category gets overlooked a bit, but it's a big one, because if we do this work and then we have a big pile of stuff that needs to go here and go there, it's like that makes us stressed out, right? So we want to have agency about it, which means we can't always control things, but by having agency, we have the ability to decide. We have the ability to take action. So that's what this is about. Okay, so then those are the categories. Green tape and a Sharpie, your best friend when doing organizing or decluttering. So I use this a lot, and those are the categories. Again, big ones. There could be others, but those tend to be the big ones when you're taking out your things. Doesn't matter what it is, whether it's food or clothing or the garage or your papers, like it's the same kind of system. Okay, organizing it, putting it back in a way that makes sense to you, your lifestyle, what you have. Pretty organizing bins, yeah, you can do that, right? That's one option, but that's not the only way, right? It's how does it work for you? And think of it as prime real estate. What's at eye level so that you're going to grab that first? I always use this example. If you want to eat healthier in the morning, have your healthy breakfast cereal within arm's reach, not way back in the cupboard, or if you don't want to eat junk food, don't have that at arm's reach. Have what you want to have visible and easy. You want to make this easy for yourself. And then you also want to think about storage, because often, not everything is out. And if you do have storage space, you want to do stacking, you want to use clear bins so that you can see, you want to label them. There's some practical tips. And I'll send you, after this call, I'll send you my transformation toolbox, which is all sorts of tips. So these are just two examples from my own house. Again, often people are like, oh, you must be so neat and tidy. Some areas, yes, but not everything. But anyway, this is how our kitchen, the kind of catch-all drawer, little containers contain things. I mean, that's really the secret, is just to keep everything in something. And that helps so much. A dollar store or whatever has many of those containers. Same with the bathroom one there. So it just prevents things from sliding all over the place. So that, I'm pressing the wrong thing. So you mentioned a photo, framing photos. So a personal story here. For years, I had been imagining a photo wall, and I had cut out pictures from magazines or looked at pretty things online, and I always thought, one day, and I don't know, it was about a year ago, I was like, okay, the day has come. Like, this is something that I'm really excited to do. And so Jeremy and I, we went through photos, and we did it collaboratively. And we, all three of us, got to choose pictures, and then we did frame them, and we even got old frames and painted them black, and really made it a project. And every time I walk by this wall now, I'm so proud, and I feel so good about it. And it took so long to get to this point, but it really feels good. So that's I have experience of holding back, not doing it, wanting to do it, and then saying, okay, let's do it. So and these are areas that aren't great in my space. Again, everyone's different, so everyone's level of what the expectation is different, but you can't really see. But under my sink is a mess. It's totally jammed in. We've got so much stuff. I need to get to it. Under my cupboard, this is my closet, and they're in boxes, but there's all kinds of stuff in there piled up. I don't really remember everything that's in there. And I don't know about your laptop screen, but I have lots of folders and things, and every so often I go and I organize them. But it is not perfect by any means, or that's not what it's about, right? We all have our areas where we're strong in doing these, and some areas where we're not. Okay, last step in the process is having a system that works. So one thing that really I have found to be very helpful is to have a bin or a bag, something where you can, when you find something that is no longer useful, not being used, it's not for you anymore, you put it in that box, put it in that bag. Maybe it's in a closet or behind something. And when that's full, you deal with it. So in that moment, you have a place to put your thing, the thing you don't need anymore, because that's the decision. You've made the decision quickly. It's like your gut saying, I don't really need that. And don't, it doesn't go back in the drawer. So the next time, right? It just immediately you take it and you put it. It really makes a difference. So I encourage you to try that. And everything, if everything has a place, it takes those few extra seconds to put the thing in its place. Right? But if you don't have that place set up, there's no urgency to do it, or it's much harder. It's much harder. So if everything has its place and it's not terribly difficult to get to, then it's about putting it back. And support, right? I mean, sometimes this is really hard to do alone. And some people are, there's different ways to get support. I mean, hiring people like me, like organizers, to come in and do that. Sometimes it's watching a video, how to online, or, whatever support you need. It is hard to do sometimes on your own. It is. Okay, simplicity boils down, right? We want to make things simple. So this Leo Balbada, he does this. He's built a community called Zen Habits, and so this is his, right? Identify the essential, eliminate the rest. It's so simple, right? Not always easy, but simple. Okay, so again, that's the T.U.D.O.S technique that we just went through. So basically, in coming to this work and realizing its impact, the impact that I can make and help others transform clutter, mental, physical clutter into clarity, these are the ways in which I do that, right? So I do the home organizing, as you know, and now I've, been doing it online, and that's a different way to help people through the process, but it's been really interesting. I also coach one-on-one. I help people one-on-one online or in person, not so much now, but I work with people to clarify not only, like, this is outside of organizing, so I would say more in the life coaching realm of what's next. It's the same process to work through those steps. As someone who has had many, many different jobs and moved a lot and lots of decision making, I've had to make lots of decisions. Sometimes they've been really great ones and sometimes not so great, but that process of learning how to do that, I've learned how to do that, and I help other people do it. I have an online course that I'm starting in a few weeks, so that's really exciting. And again, taking my teaching experience and skills from the post-secondary work that I do and bringing it to an online format is exciting. And then I have a newsletter called Thrive with 5. So every 2 weeks, it's 5 things that I hope that they've helped me to see things differently, positively, or at least make me think. And my goal is that it's the same for everybody else. So it's something to read, listen, watch, do every 2 weeks. And I have a Facebook group. So I'm just starting that. And that is going to be a place where we come together and really support, like create a community around these ideas and really support each other through the process of getting projects done in the organizing world or in the personal life transitions, whatever, again, following the system. So these are the ways in which I do the work that I do. So from today, before we're just getting towards the end, so we'll have a Q&A at the end. I'm happy to answer any questions at all, but I did want to tell you that I will be sending you a few things after the call. So I have just a little workbook. It's good. It's not like a big book or anything, but it's just some guidelines to help through this process and just actually reminders of some of the things we talked about. And then I mentioned a toolkit of tips, and I'll add you to the newsletter if you're not already on it. So I hope you'll enjoy that. And I'll just send you the links to get further information. So that'll be coming in an email soon. Okay. So in terms of how people feel, this is the most powerful part of doing this kind of work, when people feel that change and have that transformation. So these are I've just taken some pieces from Testimonials, and you can see, the words like liberating, less daunting, easier, relieved, empowered, feeling in control, more at ease. Those are pretty good, right? I think we could all agree that those are things we'd probably like to have more of in our lives, those feelings. So, that's the power of actually committing and perhaps following this process to be able to get to these results and these feelings. Okay, so again, I'm going to end where I started. There are 71 days or 10 weeks left in 2020. What will you do? What does that look like for you? And again, this isn't about feeling, hopefully it's not about feeling, setting the bar so high and feeling disappointed that you don't reach it. That's not the goal, but what can you do, or what can you commit to and decide to enter into that process in the time left this year? So for myself, I mentioned that I developed an online course. So this is actually the process of me putting it together. Each column is a week of the course, and the sticky notes are like what goes in. Okay, what's the intro, what's the P, what's the activity, so that's like the teacher hat that I wear. And I really enjoy developing courses, and I've done several in the college. And so this is what I've committed to for my time this year. I'm really dedicated to developing and launching this course. So just to let you know what it is. So let's get it done. It's an extension of what we're doing today, basically. And it's breaking down each step each week. So there's a class online every week for 5 weeks. And that's live on Zoom with Q&A at the end. There's an extended workbook that will follow along each week. And this is the really bonus part of it all, is the coaching call. So it's a 1-hour one-on-one coaching call to really examine what's the project that you're working on. So again, the Facebook group to support your success, that's part of this. And I'm going to record everything so that if you can't come live, you can access everything afterwards. And the cost for that is $297 for the 5-week course, plus, which includes the coaching piece of it. So that's exciting. I'm really excited to launch the course, and if you'd like more information, I'll send in that email. There'll be a link to more information for that. Okay, so this is the end of the formal part, and I'd love to know how you feel. I'm going to open up my chat so I can see it. How you feel right now after our time together so far. What time are we at? 2:22. Perfect. What's one word? It could be more than one word, but I think one word kind of makes it easy. So if you could describe it in one word, what would that be? Let's see what we're seeing. Amazed, inspired, yay, hopeful, motivated. Good. Those are exactly the words that I'm hoping. Again, trying to be that catalyst, right, of giving ideas and motivation to do this, because it is possible. It's totally possible. And there will be roadblocks, there will be challenges, no doubt, but there are ways through those. There are always ways through that. So cautiously optimistic. Excellent. Okay, good. So this is where, again, this is the end of I'm going to stop sharing my screen so we can see me. But I would love to take any questions that you have. Could be about anything. Okay, so please ask away. And if you need to go, bye-bye. Thank you for joining. I really, really appreciate you coming online. So if you have any specific questions, please ask.